It is here. They can't do paper reviews. You're going to start with the French. You're going to start with the French press, aren't you? 11th day of strikes, protests against pension reforms once again today.
Yeah, that's right. Despite the bill being passed through by force, unions are continuing their opposition, continuing to show that their opposition is still strong. The word of the day, really, for the French papers today is impasse. After a meeting between the French Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne and the unions proved unfruitful. It was short-lived. Both sides are really at an impasse now. La Croix nonetheless applauding the fact that both unions and the government showed responsibility in not adding to the tensions and drama that is already engulfing France. Impasse, also the word for Le Parisien aujourd'hui en France, that newspaper which is impatiently awaiting the decision from the constitutional authorities about whether Emmanuel Macron's use of that controversial 49.3 article was valid or not. That decision expected April 14th, Stuart. Le Figaro, the right-wing paper, meanwhile, despairing about how much the strikes and demonstrations have tarnished France's international reputation. You see in that article there, it has published the front pages of some of the international press reacting to the images of the strikes and the demonstrations we've been seeing. The paper reassuring readers, however, that foreign investment in France has not dried up, though, as a result of the social unrest.
Let's have a look at the papers in the UK now. It's all about one person today. This is the former Scottish First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon.
Yeah, it comes after her husband, Peter Murrell, was arrested and then released from police custody over an investigation into the funding and finances of the Scottish National Party, notably the spending of £600,000 earmarked for the Scottish independence campaign. You're nicked. That's what the Scottish paper, the Daily Record, says on its front page. Perhaps a play on words of Nicola Sturgeon's name. Great minds must think alike because it's the same headline from Metro as well today, which notes that the police probe searched the couple's house, garden, but also party headquarters. The Independent, meanwhile, wondering if this is the reason that Nicola Sturgeon quit the party leadership, quoting the opposition Labour Party as calling the allegations very serious. They're urging both Nicola Sturgeon and her close ally, and now the man who replaced her as First Minister, Hamza Yousaf, as to be forthcoming in exactly how much they know about that arrest. And you have Dave Brown really taking inspiration from the packaging of Scott's porridge oats featuring a kilted shot-putting man. This time it's Sturgeon, who's shot-putting her husband out of sight, out of mind, presumably.
Yeah, we got that cartoon very quickly. No, we haven't got it. Oh, sorry about that. We move on. The Guardian as well, the last story. The paper has revealed its investigation into the British royal family and how it amassed its wealth from some controversial real estate projects.
Yeah, at the heart of this investigation are duchies of Lancaster and Cornwall. These are professionally run real estate empires managing massive amounts of commercial and private real estate like farm, land, shops, medieval castles, and from which the royal family has earned an eye-watering £1.2 billion in total, adjusted for inflation. The duchies pay no tax on these gains either, and despite generations of MPs trying to force these profits to be paid to the Treasury, it's not come to fruition yet. Moreover, the royal family insists that the duchy income is private. It's even treated separately to the sovereign grant, which is a taxpayer-funded amount of money to cover their annual official costs. So as you can see, when you look into the details, it's quite outrageous that they can continue making this ridiculous amount of money. The Guardian writer really puts into perspective, saying the £1.2 billion that the royal family gets from these profits would pay for 30 hours of childcare per week for 13,000 preschoolers for a whole year. It would pay 30,000 nurses for a year. And it could also pay the salaries of 4,000 teachers. It's why she believes that the royal family is not powerful, but utterly useless, she says.
It is an awful lot of money, isn't it? Finally from Dipti, a new restaurant, a new chain has arrived in the UK after Australia and the US. It's called Karen's Diner, and it specialises in very poor service. It's nothing to do with the robots.
No,
it's
not.
Else?
And it's funny because Charles, you mentioned the robots before, and it kind of follows in that same vein. Basically, people Actually, no, it doesn't follow in that vein at all. people go to this restaurant to be treated badly. So the server's job there is to passively, aggressively serve food while insulting, swearing, and eye rolling at its clients. The goal being to get 0 stars on TripAdvisor. It's called Karen's Diner after Karen, the name that became synonymous with pushy, entitled white women, usually trying to weaponize their social position against racial minorities. Karen's Diner, the Telegraph says, also encourages patrons to vent their anger at rude waiters. So it really is about rage relief, I guess.
Yeah.
I dare say probably wouldn't have much success in France, where rude, snooty
who would
waiters.
notice the difference?
You wouldn't. They're already abundant and plentiful. So maybe it might not work in France.
It's not true. French waiters are great, really, honest.
Not all of them.
Depends. Dipti, thanks very much. Dipti Laurent and Charles with the business as well here on France 24.